Hello and welcome. You're watching the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha television. My name is Aishwarya Kapoor and here are this morning's headlines. Opposition objects to multiple tax rates in GST and a bill being presented as money bill in Rajya Sabha. Finance Minister to respond today. Cabinet approval for setting up a rail development authority, functions to include a tariff determination, level playing field for stakeholders. India rejects Pakistan's move to declare Gilgit, Baltistan as the fifth province. External Affairs Minister says in Lok Sabha, whole of J&K belongs to India. Opposition says the Shungnu report on AAP government exposes the Kejriwal's corruption. Report had accused him of a gross abuse of power. And first meeting between Donald Trump and Xi Jinping as Trump hosts a Chinese counterpart in Florida. Trade ties and North Korea top talks agenda. First up, news from Parliament, and Rajya Sabha debated the 4 GST bills that will lead to a single nation one tax on Wednesday. Well, the government said that the GST will not just strengthen the Indian economy but will also bring about an increase in tax revenue for the states. Well, the opposition parties supported the bill, but they objected to the multiple tax rates and the bill being presented as a money bill. Well, Finance Minister Arun Jaitley will respond to the issues raised in the discussion on Thursday, that is today.
Finance Minister Arun Jaitley introduced the 4 bills related to the Goods and Services Tax 2017. The bills include the Central GST, Integrated GST, the UT GST and GST compensation. Starting the debate, Congress leader Anand Sharma said the BJP had been against the bill for 7 years. He also blamed the government for neglecting the upper house in bringing it as a money bill. Members of Parliament expressed their objection to the multiple GST rates while keeping petroleum, alcohol and real estate out of its purview.
Rajya Sabha, Mr. Deputy Chairman, sir, has been deliberately not being given that importance when it comes to important legislation. And I fail to understand why.
इलेक्ट्रिसिटी टैक्स आपने राज्यों को दे दिया, तो ये राज्यों को जब अलग अलग हो गया, पेट्रोलियम राज्यों का रखा क्योंकि राज्यों के राजस्व की कमी हो रही थी, तो जब ये राज्यों का अलग अलग हो गया तो हम कैसे समान?
For the dealer to switch more of the cost under the head of service and less on the product. So we want you to consider and think how we can address this.
उसमें सेक्शंस हैं 5%, 12%, 18%, 28%, उसके बाद में सेस है, उसके बाद में सरचार्ज है, उसके बाद में बुलियन चार्ज है. ये इस तरह से एक टैक्स को इतनी जगह डिवाइड कर दिया गया.
जटिल और कठोर पर जो इसमें प्रोविजंस किए गए हैं, उस कठोर प्रोविजन का जो लाभ है, जो डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर्स हैं, इस एक्ट में पूरे डिस्क्रिशनरी पावर्स जो हैं सरकारी अधिकारियों और कर्मचारियों के हाथ में चले जाते हैं.
Defending the bill in the Rajya Sabha, the government assured that GST implementation will increase tax collection of states and strengthen the economy. BJP said the states have been given sufficient rights.
देश के व्यापार के, गरीबी उन्मूलन के, ईज ऑफ डूइंग बिजनेस के, रोजगार के अवसरों के कारण हम लंबे समय के लिए अपने जीडीपी में बढ़ोतरी की ओर भी इस जीएसटी कानून के द्वारा जाएंगे.
On March 29th, Lok Sabha passed 4 key GST bills, rejecting amendments moved by the opposition. After the GST is implemented, tax will be levied as per 5 broad slabs of 5, 12, 18 and 28% on various goods and services. The government says the final GST rates will be decided in consultation with the GST Council. Panchanan Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And in related news, well, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi and CPIM General Secretary Sitaram Yechuri met in Parliament on Wednesday. Well, the two are learned to have discussed tactics to be adopted on moving amendments on 4 bills related to the GST. Well, the bills were presented to Rajya Sabha earlier in the day. Now, PTI is quoting sources as saying that the two leaders discussed the issue during their meeting inside Parliament. Well, the source also said the left party is voting and sending the bills back to Lok Sabha today. And staying with Parliament, the opposition parties on Wednesday alleged in the Rajya Sabha that the electronic machines have been tampered with to favour the BJP in the elections. Well, the opposition parties demanded complete ban on the EVMs and advocated that all imminent elections be held with ballot papers. Well, the government rubbished all the allegations and urged the opposition to respect a popular mandate and the verdict of the Election Commission of India.
The anti-EVM chorus grew louder in the upper house on Wednesday. As many as 4 notices under Rule 67 seeking suspension of business to take up the issue were tendered by the Congress and Samajwadi Party. Raising the issue during 0 hour, Congress's Digvijay Singh claimed that EVMs tested ahead of the by-polls in Madhya Pradesh showed the paper trail attached to it generating a receipt for the BJP. Leader of opposition in the upper house, Ghulam Nabi Azad, accused the government of selective manipulation in EVMs and demanded that ballot papers be used in the upcoming civic polls of Delhi and assembly polls of Gujarat and Himachal Pradesh.
सबसे देश के सबसे बड़े स्टेट का में चोरी कर दी ताकि किसी को इसलिए ये ईवीएम मशीन का सिलसिला खत्म होना चाहिए और आने वाले इलेक्शन में जो हमारे ये बाई इलेक्शन जो चल रहे हैं इन बाई इलेक्शनों में भी ये ईवीएम खत्म होना चाहिए और गुजरात और हिमाचल में कोई ईवीएम मशीन का इस्तेमाल नहीं होना चाहिए.
Samajwadi Party's Ram Gopal Yadav and BSP chief Mayawati also accused the government of tampering with EVMs to reap electoral dividends.
ये डेलिबरेटली प्रोग्रामिंग की गई है ऐसी, ये तो खुल गया इसमें अटेर के उपचुनाव में, वरना हर एक मशीन में 100 वोट, 50 वोट, 150 वोट पड़ने के बाद ये प्रोग्रामिंग की गई है कि निशान कहीं भी, बटन कहीं भी दबा जाए, कमल पर वोट चला जाएगा. चिप और चिप का ठेका भी किस पे है ये बताने की कृपा करें.
उत्तर प्रदेश में ईवीएम में बड़े पैमाने पर गड़बड़ी की गई है और इस मामले को लेकर हमारी पार्टी अदालत में भी जा रही है, लेकिन और चली गई है अदालत में.
Refuting all charges, the government asserted that EVMs were tamper-proof and it is wrong to suggest that the BJP misuses them, since there are states where the party bit the dust during elections.
कोई गड़बड़ी नहीं है, वहाँ जिस पार्टी का बटन दबाया उसका ही वोट स्लिप आया है, तो कोई घोटाला नहीं है, यह हमें समझना चाहिए. और इसलिए इसका आपको अगर जाना है तो इलेक्शन कमीशन चाहिए.
कोई भी तर्क और कोई भी तथ्य ये पूरी की पूरी चर्चा में ईवीएम मशीन हमारे देश की चुनाव व्यवस्था पर कोई नहीं दे पाया. एक चीज. दूसरी चीज ये कि ये सवाल सरकार पर नहीं है, ये सवाल जनता पर है, ये सवाल चुनाव आयोग पर खड़ा किया जा रहा है.
The chair also rejected the notices and urged the members to take up the issue with the Election Commission of India.
I heard you. I know your subject. I also said, why don't you have to take it up with the Election Commission?
Despite the government's assurances and the chair's attempts to move ahead with the proceedings, members of the Congress, Samajwadi Party and BSP trooped into the well of the House. The opposition's protest disrupted proceedings of the House during 0 hour as the chair adjourned the House briefly.
House adjourned up to 11:30. Up to 11:30.
Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
And India has outrightly rejected Pakistan's move to declare Gilgit Baltistan as its 5th frontier, saying it is totally unacceptable. While replying to an issue raised by BJD leader Bharatuhari Mehtab during the 0 hour in Lok Sabha on Wednesday, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj said that India condemned the move the day it was made. She said earlier the Parliament had also passed a resolution declaring the entire Jammu and Kashmir as an integral part of India. She said that one should not doubt the intention and the policies of the NDA government with regard to the state of Jammu and Kashmir.
Even though our Parliament, our Constitution recognizes Gilgit and Baltistan as an integral part of this country. Yes. But when Pakistan has recently unilaterally has taken a decision that it will be declaring that part as the fifth state other than Balochistan, Sindh, Punjab and Northwest Frontier Province, which they call it as Pashtunkhwa. Has the Indian government, Bharat Sarkar के तरफ से कोई प्रतिक्रिया आई है कि नहीं आई है?
अध्यक्ष जी, मैं उन्हें कहना चाहती हूँ कि जिस दिन पाकिस्तान का ये प्रयास अखबार में आया और हमें पता चला, बिना समय गवाए 5 मिनट के भीतर भारत सरकार ने उसको खारिज किया। और जो उन्होंने कहा है कि दोनों सदनों का प्रस्ताव है, केवल लोकसभा का नहीं, लोकसभा राज्यसभा दोनों सदनों का, भारतीय संसद का ये प्रस्ताव है कि सारे का सारा कश्मीर हमारा है, पाक अधिकृत कश्मीर हमारा है। मैं सिर्फ भर्तृहरि जी को एक बात कहना चाहूंगी कि आज जो सरकार है वो प्रारंभ से ये नारा लगा रही है उसकी पार्टी कि जहां हुए बलिदान मुखर्जी वो कश्मीर हमारा है, जो कश्मीर हमारा है वो सारे का सारा है। इसलिए इस सरकार के कार्यकाल में एक क्षण भी, इस सरकार के कार्यकाल में ये आशंका करना भी कि हम किसी हिस्से को जाने देंगे, ये अपने आप में बहुत ही गलत है। हम जो संसद द्वारा पारित प्रस्ताव है उनसे भी बंधे हुए हैं और हमने अपने स्वयं के संकल्प से भी बंधे हुए हैं। इसलिए पाकिस्तान का ये कहना कि गिलगिट बाल्टिस्तान को हम अपना 5वां प्रदेश बना लेंगे, ये हमें पूरी तरह अस्वीकार्य है और ये मैं संसद में खड़े होकर के कहना चाहता हूँ।
On to some other news now. Well, a Tibetan spiritual leader, the Dalai Lama, on day 1 of Arunachal Pradesh visit, praised the secular structure of India. He said that India's secular social structure had led all religions to flourish side by side.
I am Buddhist, so religious harmony is very essential. Religious harmony possible because this country, India, over 1,000 years, is a religious harmony in there. So, most populated democratic country, in spite of a lot of problems or difficulties, but religious harmony over 1,000 years, you get it. So, it is possible to develop religious harmony.
Meanwhile, India has said that China was unnecessarily hyping the visit of the Dalai Lama to Arunachal Pradesh and has maintained that the Dalai Lama is on a religious trip. Well, the response of Ministry of External Affairs has come after China threatened to take action to safeguard its sovereignty over Arunachal Pradesh. Now, the Dalai Lama also refuted China's charges on India, while the spiritual leader is expected to impart teachings in Dirang and also confer the Avalokiteshwar permission at Tumsung Dhaye Gling Monastery today.
Inclement weather prompted the Dalai Lama to go by road to Tawang during his visit to Arunachal Pradesh. On Wednesday, he reached Bomdila, where he met local residents.
Among the Chinese, many, I think, love India. But some, the narrow-minded politicians, they have their own sort of certain view. So as I mentioned, they consider me as a demon. I don't think nobody considers me as a demon.
China has reacted sharply to the Dalai Lama's visit to a state that's an integral part of India. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman Hua Chunying accused India of using Dalai Lama for political purposes and warned that China will be forced to take retaliatory steps. The accusation was readily refuted by Dalai Lama, who said India had never used him as political tool.
印方不顾中方的关切，执意安排达赖到中印边界东段争议地区活动，严重伤害中方利益和中印关系。中方对此坚决反对，并将向印方提出严正的交涉。
You see, for material development, remain within the People's Republic of China. It's our interest. And then not separate, so the Chinese government also feel okay, should feel okay. So that's the mutual benefit, mutually, like that. And then one time, same time, the Chinese government must give us meaningful
self-rule, autonomy, and must take care, full care about environment.
Dalai Lama has visited Arunachal Pradesh more than half a dozen times. External Affairs Ministry said China was creating an artificial controversy to complicate relations. China's extreme reaction comes at a time when it is making inroads into Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, that is a part of India. The External Affairs Ministry is looking at the situation as a ploy to dilute its own actions in POK. Akhilesh Suman's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Well, Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone of a multimodal terminal on River Ganga in Jharkhand today. While the project is an important component of the proposed national waterway between Varanasi and Haldia, well, during his Jharkhand visit, the Prime Minister will also inaugurate the Govindpur Jamtarala Dumka Sahibganj Highway. He will also dedicate a solar power facility at the Sahibganj District Court premises and the Sahibganj District Hospital to the nation. Well, the multimodal terminal at Sahibganj is an important component of the development of National Waterway 1 from Varanasi to Haldia. While the state-of-the-art terminal will have a cargo handling capacity of 2.24 million tons per annum, and the project is expected to benefit rural areas by creating jobs and business opportunities. Well, a very short break in here. We'll be right back.
Gyan Chopper is the ancient version of Indian snakes and ladders. This intriguing game was popular among the old, the young and the rulers as well. The chopper has its origin in the Jain philosophy. It tells the story of virtue, symbolized by the ladders, rewarded, while the vices shown by the snakes are punished. Each square, in turn, also narrates a message of wisdom.
Welcome back after the break. Now, the Union Cabinet meeting chaired by the Prime Minister Narendra Modi on Wednesday took an array of decisions and approved many MOUs. Now, these include a setting up of an independent rail development authority regulatory mechanism in New Delhi. Also, the closure of the Mahatma Gandhi Pravasi Suraksha Yojana, which was set up in 2012. Now, the government will focus on the Pravasi Bharatiya Bima Yojana. Also, proposal of the Ministry of Home Affairs for the extension of the implementation phase of the Crime and Criminals Tracking Network and Systems Project for another year beyond 31st of March 2017 has been approved. But apart from this, the Cabinet also approved an MOU on passenger cruise services on the coastal and protocol routes between India and Bangladesh. MOU between India and Bangladesh in the field of judicial sector cooperation. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has been apprised of the MOU signed with Italy on technical cooperation in railway sector. MOU between the Airports Authority of India and its French counterpart, the Civil Aviation Authority, France, to implement a technical cooperation program in the civil aviation sector. Well, the Cabinet also approved the signing of the Air Services Agreement between India and Georgia. And RBI will unveil the first bi-monthly review of 2017-18 today. Well, the central bank is unlikely to cut interest rates in the view of a hardening inflation. Well, wholesale inflation soared to a 39-month high of 6.55% in February, while retail inflation inched up to 3.65% due to rise in food and fuel prices. The Monetary Policy Committee, headed by RBI Governor Urjit Patel, began its two-day meeting on Wednesday. Well, this will be the fourth bi-monthly policy based on the recommendations of the 6-member MPC. Now, Urjit Patel had last cut the repo rate by 25 basis points to 6.25% in October last year policy review. He had kept it on hold in December and February policy review, but shifted its policy stance from accommodative to neutral in its last review. News from the National Capital now. Well, the 3-member Shanglu Committee formed by the Lieutenant Governor of Delhi, Najib Jung, has pointed out gross abuse of power by the Arvind Kejriwal government in its report. Well, the committee has flagged decisions including the allotment of land to AAP for the party office, appointment of Minister Satyendra Jain's daughter as the mission director of a Delhi State Health Mission, and a number of purported AAP functionaries as advisors. Well, the report, which runs into over 100 pages, deals with decisions including appointment of certain individuals as advisors to the government taken by Kejriwal and his cabinet when it had no authority to do so and without the LG's concurrence. Well, the report observes that the genesis of the conflict lay in an April 2015 order issued by Kejriwal to all the departments, directing them to take decisions without consulting the Lieutenant Governor. Well, Delhi Congress chief Ajay Makan also took to Twitter to announce that he got the report as part of an RTI query and that it exposes corruption in the AAP government. Well, the BJP has said that AAP should be made to pay a price for this.
मैं समझता हूं कानून को कड़ी से कड़ी सजा इनको देनी चाहिए। संगलो रिपोर्ट के बाद इनके साथ कोई भी सहानुभूति नहीं रखी जानी चाहिए, क्योंकि जितना मौका देंगे ये लगातार दिल्ली के गरीबों के पैसों को लूट रहे हैं और आगे भी लूटेंगे। कानून भी सजा दे और आगे आने वाले चुनाव में जनता भी सजा दे।
And the centre on Wednesday told the Supreme Court that NGOs will now have to execute a bond in favour of the President of India. It also said that any breach of trust will entail a refund of grants while inviting the tag of blacklisted organisation. It also said to regulate the funding and use of grants by over 32 lakh NGOs and voluntary organisations. Their financial statements will be audited annually by the Controller and Auditor General of India and Chartered Accountants. Well, the centre, which highlighted the monitoring process of the accounts of NGOs, has now framed the guidelines under which every auditor will have the access to all the books, vouchers and other records in possession of the organisation concerned. Well, the centre also barred the appointment of auditors if they are in any way related or have business interests with the office bearers of the voluntary organisations or these NGOs. Now to some international news now. Well, US President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping are to hold their first summit encounter today at Mar-a-Lago, Florida. Well, the summit will seek to forge a connection and stabilize the world's most important diplomatic relationship, despite a gulf between them in experience, temperament and global outlook. Well, topping the agenda at Mar-a-Lago will be US-China trade ties and US requests for China to help rein in its nuclear-armed neighbour, North Korea. Well, Myanmar's leader Aung San Suu Kyi has denied ethnic cleansing of Rohingya Muslims in her country. Well, in an interview to the BBC, the Nobel Peace Prize winner acknowledged problems in the Rakhine state where the Rohingya people live, but she said that ethnic cleansing was too strong a term to use. Instead, Bangladesh. And US President Donald Trump has condemned the killing of civilians in northern Syria in an apparent chemical attack by Syrian Air Force. Well, President Trump said that the chemical attack was an affront to humanity that crossed a lot of lines. However, he declined to say if the US would respond. Well, Trump also continued to blame his predecessor Barack Obama for the attack, saying that his predecessor's failure to respond to a similar attack in 2013 opened the door for future strikes. Well, Trump acknowledged that he has responsibility now that he's in the Oval Office. Well, according to the UK-based monitoring group, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, 20 children and 52 adults were killed in the chemical incident at Idlib province on Tuesday. Well, the suspected chemical attack led the United Nations to replace a scheduled Security Council session for Wednesday morning with an emergency meeting.
Being carried in the arms of desperate parents.
A chemical attack that was so horrific in Syria against innocent people, including women, small children, and even beautiful little babies. Their deaths was an affront to humanity. These heinous actions by the Assad regime cannot be tolerated. The United States stands with our allies across the globe to condemn this horrific attack and all other horrific attacks for that matter.
And in the IPL, well, defending champions Sunrisers Hyderabad got off to a winning start with a comfortable 35-run victory over Royal Challengers Bangalore in the opening match. Well, batting first, Sunrisers Hyderabad rode on superb half-centuries from Yuvraj Singh and Moises Henriques to put a massive total of 207 for 4 in their allotted 20 overs. Now, Shikhar Dhawan also contributed with a handy 40 runs, while in reply, RCB were bowled out for just 172 runs in 19.4 overs, with the spinner Rashid Khan picking up 2 for 36 on his debut match, while Chris Gale top scored for RCB with 32 runs. Yuvraj Singh was named the man of the match for his 62 runs off just 27 balls. And former world number 1 Saina Nehwal and PV Sindhu made shocking exits from the Malaysian Open Super Series Premier Tournament on Wednesday. Well, Saina Nehwal lost to 4th seed Akane Yamaguchi 21-19, 13-21, 15-21, while PV Sindhu also went down to China's Yen Yufei 21-18, 19-21, 17-21. Last week, Saina Nehwal had lost to PV Sindhu in the quarterfinals of the Indian Open Super Series, while Sindhu went on to beat Olympic champion Carolina Marin to win her maiden Indian Open. However, in this tournament, there was some good news for India as Ajay Jairam went through to the next round of the Malaysian Open, beating China's Kuai Bin 21-11, 21-8. Well, that's it in this edition of news. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day ahead.